At USA, it's 4 o'clock.
The defense rests in two high-profile cases. Lisa Brady, Fox News. First to Minnesota, where now former officer Kim Potter is charged with 2 counts of manslaughter in the traffic stop killing of Dante Wright, who was trying to get the car moving with an officer inside when the defense argues Potter made a mistake, firing her gun instead of her taser.
You knew that deadly force was unreasonable and unwarranted in those circumstances.
I didn't want to hurt anybody.
You didn't want to hurt anybody.
But Potter told prosecutor Erin Eldridge she doesn't remember saying she was going to prison, which is on the body cam footage. Potter also testified she had never fired her gun or deployed her taser in her 26-year career. The jury could get that case on Monday. And in New York, only a 2-day defense at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell after prosecutors spent weeks laying out a sex trafficking case against her. The British socialite and longtime associate of late financier Jeffrey Epstein deciding not to take the stand, telling the court today the government didn't prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt, so there was no reason to testify. That case could also go to the jury Monday after closing arguments. A new surge of COVID breaking records yet again. New York State reporting more than 21,000 new cases today, topping its previous high from January. And in New York City, the positivity rate doubling in 3 days, also breaking new ground. Amid the rise of the fast-spreading Omicron variant, though Delta is still the dominant strain for now. The NFL having to postpone games because of outbreaks.
The Cleveland Browns and the Las Vegas Raiders will no longer square off Saturday. The NFL postponing that game to Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. As of Friday morning, the Browns had 24 players on their COVID reserve list who either have tested positive for the virus or have yet to clear protocol.
Fox's Matt Napolitano. 2 Sunday games also postponed. America is listening to Fox News.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out, because when you find the perfect home, you don't want to lose it to anybody else. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers and their agents greater confidence in you. We've already helped over 1 million clients just like you reach their home financing goals this year alone. So remember this, what can help you buy the home you really want? Rocket can. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET. That's rocketmortgage.com or call 8338-ROCKET. Rocket.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information appraisal and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
A sad day in Kentucky.
As of this morning, I believe our number of fatalities is now up to 77.
But Governor Andy Beshear is pledging again to rebuild from the swarm of tornadoes 1 week ago that killed more than 90 people in all in 5 states, leveling thousands of homes and businesses.
I see just as much love in the midst of all this as I see destruction.
Beshear commending everyone who's helping strangers and noting that several shelters have already closed because of people who still have homes inviting others in as soon as their electricity is restored. A trend away from using standardized test scores in college admissions appears to still be growing with an Ivy League edition.
Harvard University is waiving SAT and ACT scores for admission for at least the next 4 years through the 2030 graduating class. The requirement had already been waived for admissions this year and last year, although students may submit scores as part of their application package. The Harvard announcement says it's because of the coronavirus pandemic and the possibility of students not having equal access to testing. Other schools have stopped requiring the tests altogether in recent years.
Fox's Chris Foster. Another honor for the Queen of Country.
Dolly Parton breaks 3 Guinness World Records.
This is the kind of stuff that really makes you very humble and makes you very thankful and grateful.
The organization sharing a Twitter clip of the country superstar being awarded certificates in Nashville as the female artist with the most decades on and most #1 hits on the Billboard U.S. Hot Country Songs chart. And breaking her own record for most overall hits on the chart with 109 tracks making it on the Billboard list.
I've just loved being able to make a living in the business that I love so much.
Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Wall Street's week ends with a slide. The Dow down 532 points. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Snow showers will continue throughout this evening with northwest winds between 5 and 15. We'll see those snow showers coming to an end overnight as we drop down to a low of 2 with 1 to 2 inches of accumulation in Fargo. Higher amounts between 3 and 5 plus just to our south, where winter weather advisories are in effect until midnight. Into your Saturday, the winds remain light. We'll have a high near 10 with partly cloudy to partly sunny conditions. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm.
Steep me a cup of tea. We are more than your average cup of yummy tea. We provide nourishment for your body through tea and herbs. I am Jerry Hintz.
And I am Teresina Hintz. And together, Jerry and I have developed, imported, and handcrafted over 400 loose leaf blends to nourish you. We have a tea to help with digestion, insomnia, cold and viral infections, and many more. Learn more at steepme.com or come by our store in South Fargo.
Stop on in. We'll help you choose a Steep Me a Cup of Tea.
One more time, got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate and dance so free. One more time, this got me feeling so free. We're gonna celebrate.
The Chris Berg Show, where faith and freedom reign.
One more.
Whew, am I excited for today's show? I've got an incredible story here that we're going to start the show off with today. So I want you to start using your imagination. I want you to imagine something here for a moment. Let's say that your spouse comes down, isn't feeling very well. You end up going to the hospital and your spouse has to stay overnight. And you go back the next day because it's your spouse. You love your spouse. This is a hospital in North Dakota. This actually happened. And so you go back the next day because you want to see your spouse. You love your spouse. You want to make sure that your spouse is okay in the hospital. You show up at the hospital, and next thing you know, you've got people around you patting you down. All you want to do is go see your spouse in the hospital. And next thing you know, you show up and people are patting you down in a hospital in the great state of North Dakota. Now, if you walk into a hospital in North Dakota and all of a sudden you want to go see your spouse and you're getting pat down, what's in your imagination right now? You're thinking, hey, maybe this guy is packing heat. Maybe this guy's doing something nefarious if he's getting jumped and pat down, walking into a hospital in North Dakota. And producer BG, you may need to use the mute button here, okay? I don't want to get us canceled, but I'm going to share with our audience what happened. So, person goes into a hospital. They love their spouse. They want to see their spouse. Spouse isn't doing well. And they got patted down. And yes, I'm going to actually say this out loud. So get ready. The person got patted down because the people at the hospital thought they actually might have on them ivermectin. The hospital thought the person might have ivermectin on them. Not making this story up. The person walks into a hospital wanting to see their spouse not feeling well. They got patted down because they thought the guy might have ivermectin on him. Holy cow. Welcome to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Are you awake yet, folks, on a Friday? Here on a Feel Good Friday to help set you free. Free to be able to walk into a hospital with ivermectin. We're coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping you and America fuel better. As you're out driving around today, please stop into your local PetroServe USA, grab some gas and some goodies. Now, speaking about freedom, helping set you free to the point that you can walk into a North Dakota hospital with ivermectin because your spouse isn't feeling well without the fear of getting patted down. Because, folks, in my hands right now, I just want to share with you, because some of you might go, well, like, Chris, what's ivermectin? Like, is that normal? Has it been around for a while? Like, what's the story here? So in my hands right now, I'm actually looking at a document from what's called the CDC. Do we know the CDC? The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Yes, we know the CDC very well. Thanks to China. What I'm looking at right now is a pretty lengthy document from the CDC. The title is Overseas Refugee Health Guidance. This is the CDC Overseas Refugee Health Guidance. When I go to page 4, here's what's pretty amazing. Okay, person walks into a North Dakota hospital and gets patted down because they were concerned that this person might have ivermectin on. Now, let me read this to you. CDC recommendations for overseas presumptive parasite treatment. The CDC recommendations for overseas presumptive parasite treatment. Region, Africa, recommended ivermectin. Asia, recommended ivermectin. Middle East, recommended ivermectin. Latin America, recommended ivermectin. What in the world is going on? How can somebody who has concern for their spouse and their well-being suggest ivermectin, go home, come back the next day, and get patted down walking into a hospital in the great state of North Dakota? Let me give you an idea of what it potentially could be. I've played this for you before. Here's one reason that might be happening. This is Dr. Peter McCullough on the Joe Rogan Show.
So you believe this is a premeditated thing that they were doing. So they realized that in order to get people enthusiastic about taking this vaccine, the best way to do that was to not have a protocol for treatment.
It's not just my idea. Now it's completely laid out by the book by Dr. Pam Popper, the book recently published by Peter Breggin, COVID-19 and the Global Predators, We Are the Prey. I wrote one of the introductions. Dr. Leaf Leet and Dr. Vladimir Lysenko wrote the other introductions. These books are basically nonfiction. They have 1,000 citations in the Breggin book showing how it was coordinated and planned. Now Bobby Kennedy has his book out, The Real Anthony Fauci. I'm the most mentioned physician in that book. I can tell you that if you want to find the evidence that Moderna was working on the vaccine before the virus ever emanated out of the lab, if you wanted to find the collusions and the operations between the Gates Foundation and Gavi and CEPI and Pfizer and Moderna and the vaccine manufacturers and the Wuhan lab and the National Institutes of Health and Ralph Barrick and University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and how all this was organized. If you want to see the Johns Hopkins planning seminar called the SPARS pandemic in 2017, where they had a symposium, people showed up, they wrote up their symposium findings, they published this. It says it's going to be a coronavirus. It's going to be related to MERS and SARS. It's going to come over here to the United States. It's going to shut down cities and frighten people. There's going to be confusion regarding a drug, hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin.
Oh, wait. What was that? There's going to be confusion about a drug? Ivermectin? Huh. Interesting. Wonder why. We're going to get to that in a moment. One last thing I want to share with you. Again, this is Dr. Peter McCullough on the Joe Rogan podcast. Listen closely here about the lives that could have been saved if we would have used treatments and prophylactics with COVID. Because again, the reason I wanted to share with you this overseas refugee thing, there are study upon study upon study. If you go look at sub-Saharan Africa, many nations within sub-Saharan Africa have got very, very little COVID. Now, how can that be so? I mean, you're talking about, for a lot of these places, third world countries. How in the world can third world countries have such low hospitalization rates, death rates, COVID cases, where obviously in the United States, we were one of the worst when it came to death rates. I mean, 4% of the population of the world, I think we were 20% of the deaths when it came to COVID. How can you explain that? Because every Sunday in many African countries, because they have to deal with malaria and whatnot, I've heard every Sunday there are places where they take ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, because obviously they've got to deal with what they deal with in those countries. So if there would have been a treatment protocol, here's what Dr. Peter McCullough had to say.
So in your opinion, if your protocol had been established and distributed worldwide, if people had recognized that this is a way to deal with early treatment, you think that the overall number of COVID deaths would have been significantly reduced?
I testified in the U.S. Senate, November 19th, 2020. I told Americans under oath that 50% of the lives at that time could have been saved. We were at about 250,000 deaths, based on what I knew. I then testified on March 10th, 2021 in the Texas Senate, sworn testimony. I upped that to 85% of the deaths could have been avoided. We know
85% of the deaths could have been avoided. I just mentioned to you, the United States of America, 4% of the global population, and yet we accounted for roughly 20% of the COVID deaths globally. Look at sub-Saharan Africa where they're using ivermectin, HCQ, I don't know the exact numbers, but much dramatically lower death rates, hospitalization rates, cases rates, and they're using ivermectin. We now have drug mules that are carrying ivermectin. And it's been around for decades. Decades. Let's bring in a special guest. Very special guest who's got the details on the story about the person who simply wanted to help their spouse get better, try maybe something different that might be effective for their spouse, because you would presume they would know their spouse pretty well, and gets patted down walking into a North Dakota hospital. North Dakota Representative Bill Twite joins us. He also is one of the co-sponsors of House Bill 1514, sort of the right to try bill that was during the special session. Representative Twite, thanks so much for showing us. I guess first and foremost, we want to tell the truth here on the show. Is there anything in my setup that was wrong in regards to the story? And if you don't mind, sir, share and explain the story as clearly as you can. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chris. And no, your introduction was very much along the lines of the story, and I was wondering when you got done if I had to share anything or not. But this week, I received a call from a constituent, and he began to tell me that he personally had been patted down in a hospital here in western North Dakota prior to being allowed to visit a family member. This was at Sanford and Bismarck. I wonder, where are the rights of the patient, the rights of the family, quote, the customer, the consumer, the payee in healthcare today? And what I'm seeing happening is other people have responded to this outcry is the patient advocates of your family has also been locked out of the hospital through this whole COVID event. And it's very troubling. We tried to fix that in House Bill 1514.
And Representative Twite, I want to get to that, if you don't mind, sir. I think this story is so compelling. I guess help us understand, give us the context of, because like I said, I'm like, if I walk into a hospital and all of a sudden I'm getting frisked, I've got to presume they think I'm packing heat or something. And that wasn't the case. So what led up to this person coming back to the hospital and all of a sudden people are surrounding him, patting him down?
As you said, Chris, in your introduction, he had been in to visit his spouse, and ironically, the first couple of days she was in, he was able to go and visit her in the room because she had been admitted for other things other than COVID. And they, of course, did the normal testing for COVID, and later, according to the test anyway, she was confirmed positive. But during that visitation of the family member, he started to insist that they try ivermectin instead of their normal hospital protocol. And my understanding, he got, pretty demanding that, we know this works, give it a try. Well, he then went in and visited his spouse, spent an hour there that day, but the next day when he came back, they assumed from his demeanor the day before that he's probably going to try to bring some in because we're not going to give it to her. And of course, they give him the whole rundown that how ivermectin's not safe. It's not a hospital protocol, and we don't do that here, and we can't do that here, and so on. And it just was a bad scene, like you say, out in the hallway or whatever, being patted down under suspicion.
Representative Twite, I've got texts coming in asking me who patted him down. Was there security? Was it the doctors? Who was doing the patting down?
I'm not clear on that, whether it was security or the doctors, and I apologize for not having that fine point, but it was hospital staff.
I mean, and then you just said they told him that it's not, I think safe was the word that you used. According to who? Because the CDC gives it to refugees all the time.
It's not safe, apparently, according to their protocol in the hospital.
So when we come back, I'm going to find out from Representative Dwight why they would tell him that it's not safe, according to their protocols, at least to get his theory on that. The other thing that I'd like you to share with them, Dwight, when we come back is that the dynamics between the spouse now and his spouse, the patient, have changed as well. So I want you to let people understand what's happening within hospitals right here in North Dakota. Again, Representative Bill Dwight is joining us. Just a stunning story about a gentleman getting patted down because they thought he had ivermectin. So if you want to call into the show, the number is 701-271-1100. Representative Dwight, more than happy to take your phone calls and questions. Again, 701-271. You're listening to the Chris Berg Show here on a Feel Good Friday.
Your farm and business depends on a reliable source for energy. PetroServe USA is the customer-owned co-op committed to being a stable source of fuel for your equipment and propane to dry your grain. We have the capacity to make sure you never run out of fuel and to keep prices stable. Dependability, competitive prices, and exemplary service. That's PetroServe USA, helping America fuel better. PetroServe USA. Call today.
This holiday season, Luther Family Buick GMC would like to thank you for your continued patronage. The holidays are the perfect time to reflect on all the blessings we've received from our amazing community, as well as the various ways we've enjoyed giving back this year. Getting to work with our loyal customers again throughout the year has filled our team with joy. We've also been thrilled to welcome new smiling faces to our Luther family. From all of us at Luther Family Buick GMC, have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Moxie Java has so many great flavors of coffee, and in December, they've got 12 holiday flavors. I'm highly recommending the roasted reindeer.
Yeah, I know you love that one. And we love our Moxie Java coffee at the Lights location in West Fargo. They have a convenient drive-thru and the Joe Coffee app. Moxie Java gift cards are the perfect gifts for friends and family. And if you're at the Lights ice rink, stop by Moxie for a hot chocolate for the kids.
Moxie Java at the Lights in West Fargo.
Is your Christmas wish to save money on your mortgage or have a lower rate? Hi, this is Natalie with Vision Bank. Mortgage rates are still really low, which means it's the perfect time to refinance. These rates won't last forever. Give me a call today to see if we can lower your rate, cut years off your mortgage, and save you money. We have the best rates, responsive lenders, and will guide you through the entire process. Stop by one of our 3 convenient locations or visit us online at visionbanks.com. Bank with Vision, equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Surprises are great on your birthday or when your bags actually get to your destination. But when it comes to your tax return, the team at Haga Comer believes that boring is beautiful. Haga Comer will find all available deductions and tax credits, and when it comes to your business, they'll help you plan ahead, discussing tax law changes and how they directly affect your organization. So call Haga Comer and leave the surprises to the bag of food you get in the drive-thru lane. Haga Comer, online at hagacomer.com.
Take a step to the left, take a step to the right, take a step into the Bottle Barn Liquors tonight. The best selection of liquor, beer, and wine at the lowest prices. You'll find them all the time. All with 2 locations, the Bottle Barn is easy to find. Get your party started right at the Bottle Barn Liquors tonight. Hey, the Bottle Barn Liquors, your neighborhood liquor store.
Said the shepherd boy to the mighty king, do you know what I know? In your palace warm, mighty king, do you know what I know?
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas on this Feel Good Friday here on the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. One of the most important things that you can have freedom in your life around today is your health, you and your family's health. Thanks so much for joining us here on a Friday. Joining us today as well, North Dakota Representative Bill Dwight with a shocking story coming out of Bismarck. Sanford and Bismarck actually patted a gentleman down because they wanted to make sure he didn't have, they wanted to make sure that he wasn't smuggling, not fentanyl, not, any of that. No, they wanted to make sure he wasn't smuggling any ivermectin into the hospital. It's a really, really shocking story. Representative Dwight, thanks for sticking around. If you don't mind, share with the audience, because one of the things we know, if you're going to recover from anything in life when it comes to your health, it's obviously very important to have loved ones around you that you can have that connection and things of that nature. And so, share with us sort of the change in dynamics now between the patient and the spouse today.
Well, basically, Chris, what happened in this case, and this protocol in most cases, it seems, in North Dakota hospitals, is the patient was moved into a COVID unit. And once in that COVID unit, no outside visitation is allowed. And so, beyond a video chat with your loved one, you have no connections. You can't touch that person. You can't be there for them in their room. I just want to touch base a little bit. Several years ago, my wife with her dad was at one of the cancer treatments of America. And the one biggest thing they insisted down there was, do not leave your patient alone. Be there, be an advocate for your patient. This whole COVID thing has just removed that advocacy. It's leaving the patient totally unsupervised other than the hospital staff. And that is very concerning to me.
Great example. I'm sorry.
That's exactly what's happened here. Is now that spouse's patient is separated from her family or loved ones other than video chats, if that's possible. And as long as she's comatose, that works. Beyond that don't work either.
No, even when people are in a coma, they can still tell when their loved ones are around, the importance of that. I mean, we need some more Patch Adams to get back into the medical field. And the other thing I want to have you speak to, if you don't mind, Representative White, is because you were one of the co-sponsors of House Bill 1514, the right to try. Why do you believe, and maybe you know why, so the hospital would tell this person that ivermectin is not safe when we've been using it now for decades?
Well, sadly, Chris, and it's been said many times before, but nobody really follows that. It's the money. I really believe it's the money. And if I could share just a little bit, I want to quote from a John Rappaport. You may be familiar with his writings. And John was nominated for Pulitzer Prize. He worked as an investigation reporter for 30 years, writing articles on politics, medicine, and health for CBS Health Watch. John starts out and he says, upon admission to a once trusted hospital, American patients with COVID-19 become virtual prisoners, subject to the rigid treatment protocol for rationing medical care of those over age of 50. And I don't know if it's restricted to over age of 50, but this is what he says. He said they have shockingly high mortality rates. And then he goes on later in the article, he says, hospital payments, what do they include? Number one, it starts out with a free required PCR test in the emergency room or upon admission for every patient, which of course is not free because the government pays the fee to the hospital. Add a bonus payment for each positive COVID-19 diagnosis. There's another bonus for COVID-19 admission to the hospital. There's a 20% boost bonus payment for Medicare on the entire hospital bill for the use of remdesivir instead of medicine such as ivermectin. There's another and larger bonus payment to the hospital if a COVID-19 patient is mechanically ventilated. There's more money to the hospital if cause of death is listed as COVID-19, even if the patient did not die directly of COVID.
Yep. Dr. Scott Jensen talked about that. I'm going to give you the last word, Representative Dwight, and I know you were part of the 1514 thing, but so giving you the last word, what do you think the most important thing the people of North Dakota should know today from you?
I think the most important thing, Chris, is you do have rights. And I hesitate to say it because it's a sad story. But if the cry on the public streets and so on is, if you get COVID, do not go to the hospital. And that's a shame, for all the dollars and cents that we've tied up in medical things here, and whether not just in North Dakota, but nationwide, that we would have to reach that attitude. And I believe in the medical world. But with this dollar-driven atmosphere that we're living in, I think we're better off in doing what we need to do at home. There are doctors now, and there are pharmacists in North Dakota safely prescribing and filling ivermectin. And you can take that at home, do it early. Hydroxychloroquine is another opportunity. But these things work. Around the nation, there's doctors like Dr. Stella Emanuel in Houston, Texas, has treated over 7,000 COVID patients. Out of those 7,000, she has lost 8 patients. All 8 of those had other extenuating circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Her primary choice of medication is ivermectin. There's doctors within the state that did start out with hydroxychloroquine. They've switched primarily to ivermectin now as a drug of choice. And they're sending people home safely, keeping them at home. Talk to your doctor, insist on this medication. And if your hospital won't provide, hopefully your patient is well enough that you can move them out of the hospital.
I was just going to say, North Dakota Representative White, I think one of the most stunning things you said is I've had 2 people now within the last, 24, 48 hours say the same thing to me. They go, here's the saddest thing is that if I thought I had COVID, I wouldn't want to go to the hospital because I'm not convinced that they actually would do the right things to help me get better, which that is embarrassing to even say right now. And yet that's what other people are saying to me. And so I just think you hit the nail on the head. And North Dakota Representative Bill White, thank you for joining us. If you wouldn't mind speaking to your constituent, or if you want to send me their information and see if they'd be willing to come on the show and share their story, I think people would have lots and lots of interest in that, sir.
I can sure try to reach out to them.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time and the insight, and keep up the great work, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Let's go to Representative Bill White. If you're just joining us, incredible story coming out of Bismarck. A gentleman wanted to go and see his spouse in the hospital. He walked into Sanford Bismarck because he's a proponent of ivermectin, and they actually patted him down. Not because he was packing heat, not because they thought he was smuggling fentanyl. No, because he thought he actually might have ivermectin on him. So would love to know your point of view on that. Want to remind you can always watch the show as well. We stream it every single day from 4 to 5. You can go to Facebook, facebook.com/Chris Berg Show. We're on Twitter. You can just go to am1100theflag.com every day. Check us out there. So all kinds of ways that you can join our Chris Berg Show community, get your daily dose of truth to set yourself free. Speaking about setting yourself free, a very special guest coming up that I'm excited to share with you. The gentleman's got a program he's going to be doing in the new year, and I just thought that was kind of a nice time as we're a little bit out from Christmas time, but it's called Hero on a Mission. How do you become a hero on a mission? And if you were a hero on a mission, how would that look to you? What would that look like to you? We're going to talk to a very special guest coming up right after this. So stay with us. You're tuned into the Chris Berg Show, coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio.
The 2021 tax year is quickly coming to an end. Now is a great time to meet with a tax professional to see if there are any final opportunities your farming operation can capture. At Egg Country Farm Credit Services, our team of tax experts specialize in all aspects of agriculture and tax policy. When you're ready to review your finances, turn to the experts in every field at Egg Country Farm Credit Services.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed. Also, the Army National Guard's education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the North Dakota Army National Guard. Aired by the North Dakota Broadcasters Association at this station.
You want a fun night out with the family or just a great place to hang out with the guys? Fargo Billiards and Gastropub has all the fun under one roof. Foosball, ping pong, shuffleboard, pinball, darts, beanbags, bubble hockey, and of course, pool tables galore. They have delicious food and your favorite beverages to wash it all down. It's a super fun atmosphere and a great place to hang out with friends. Open for lunch or dinner every day. Fargo Billiards and Gastropub, just west of I-29 on 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
At Collins & Kronk Raymond James, we are privileged to have our clients let us be a part of their lives. They share their families with us and their close friends. We get to help them develop their dreams and curb their fears. We are so grateful to have this honored and important role in their lives. This holiday season reminds us once again how important family is, and we are thankful to be a part of yours.
Merry Christmas from all of us at Collins & Kronk, and a prosperous new year.
Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Collins & Kronk is not a broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James.
Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
At Fix It Forward Auto Care, they know how stressful it is when your auto isn't running right. That's why they work hard to offer same-day or next-day service, loaner cars, key drop-off, and text messaging. They will even pick up and drop off your car, and you can pay online or over the phone. That's Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
We'll be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart.
Is this Dolly Parton, producer BG?
One
of my
favorites.
Have you seen her holiday special, like Something Many Colors, when she was a little girl?
No.
Oh, you have to see it. It's fantastic. It is really, really a heart-touching story. It's about Dolly Parton growing up, and I think she's in the middle of Tennessee and in the backwoods, and just a really, really powerful story about faith and family. Right here on AM 1100 The Flag. So welcome back to the Chris Berg Show here on a Feel Good Friday, talking about faith and family and freedom and all the things that we just cherish and love in our great nation. So I want to introduce you to a very special guest today, and there's a program coming up in January, and it's called Hero on a Mission. So I just want you to take a moment right now in your own imagination and just think to yourself, if I was a hero on a mission, how would that journey look? Like, what would that be for me? What kind of story would I want to create? And the special guest in studio today, Glenn Stevens, he does some personal business coaching, things of that nature, and is putting together a program coming up in January called Hero on a Mission. That's right. I can't say I've done it, but I've done the online version, and I just absolutely love what you're up to. So how would you explain to somebody, what is this Hero on a Mission?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so glad you got something out of it. I've gone through it myself, and it's taking that sense of, okay, is the story I'm living in right now the story I want to live? And if it isn't, God's given us the agency to make changes and to think that through. And so what Hero on a Mission does is it helps anybody who wants to, like, maybe make a change in their life, or they're starting in a new journey, or maybe they're just sort of tired of the story they're living. Do the good work of thinking about what story do I want to live into? What if I were a character in a great movie, in a great story? And the way you do that is we look at the end of life. Where do I want my life to be? And then we reverse engineer it and help people think through what's their vision, what kinds of goals do they want to have, And it boils all the way down to, what am I going to do today? And being able to connect what I do today to what the life I want to live. It's really powerful.
And take us out to the end, because I think that was one of the more powerful pieces of the program, where you go out and what you do is you imagine it's your funeral.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
someone has to come up and read your obituary, and you get to sort of script out
That's right.
what you want to be spoken. I thought that was just such a powerful way to, number one, sort of take a step back and go, okay, wow, there's this room full of people.
Right.
I've got one person to stand up and represent my life. Like, what do I want to be said?
That's right. It's very powerful. Some people get a little bit like, oh, that feels a little morbid or whatever, but it's actually very freeing. And it's really intensely emotionally powerful, because you think through who's really important. You start thinking about who would be in that room, who would be sharing this story, and then what would I hope they would say about me? And so you get to think out, what would I want them to say? And then you kind of write that out and you tell that story. And it's really, for me personally, as I did that work, it was real powerful. I used quotes from my oldest daughter in it, and then an imaginary person I've never even met yet, but I hope to have influenced someday. They both had little says in it. So my mom read it and it brought her to tears.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the big question then is, okay, so I go and write this, hypothetical obituary. Right. How does that change my life today?
Yeah. Well, what that does is it gives you that North Star. So it's like, wow, I can look out and see where my life went and what was accomplished. So now I'm able to reverse engineer the life I want to live. And so because I know where I want to go, it's like leadership. I love a simple definition of leadership. It's moving from A to B. And so once you know where B is and A is where you are right now, you can start taking steps that direction, and you can actually, get out a map and navigate the course you want to take. And so you're able to do that. And what happens after you write your obituary is you think about, okay, if that's where I want to be at the end of my life, 10 years from now, what's my vision now 10 years from today? And you think that through. And we got some great tools in the Hero on a Mission course to help you think that through and really get specific about it.
If you're just joining us, Glenn Stevens is with us. Yeah, he's a personal business coach, and he's got a great program coming out in January. I thought it'd be nice to have him on today because, January, everybody's sort of that new year, new mode, right, new ideas. And this Hero on a Mission program is really, really powerful. And I would say one of the things that's very powerful about it, folks, is how it uses story. It helps you start to build. We all know the power of story, but yet we know the power of it, but we may not know how to use it. And so this program helps you really use story to effectuate your life and the vision you have got for your life. So I'll ask you, Glenn, it sounds like you've spent some time with Hero on a Mission for yourself personally.
Yes.
What's been the biggest impact for you and why?
I'd say there's two things. So 2 years ago, I was actually it was just a year ago. I was introduced to Hero on a Mission, went through it. And the biggest impact for me was getting clarity on how do I want to live today, and knowing that connects with the life I want to live. And it's also really had a powerful impact on my most important relationships, because when you're thinking through, when you're just going through life, you get busy. There's this, there's that thing. And it's what this does is you think through what's really important. And often you boil it all down. On my deathbed, I'm probably not going to say, man, I wish I would have, done another class or, met with another sales call. I probably going to say, I wish I would have spent more time with the people that matter to me most. And so I'm reminded because of this on a daily basis that that's important to me, and it prompts me to take action.
So you've got a program coming up in January, sort of lay out the vision of what is if I'm out there listening going, hey, Hero on a Mission, I want to create my own life story. I want to be a hero on a mission. What is this course? How do I get involved?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be 7 weeks. We're going to start on January 12th. So it'll be Wednesdays over the lunch hour. We'll meet in a small group. So a coach, I'm a certified Business Made Simple coach, and I will facilitate a 90-minute session for 7 weeks in a row, starting that second Wednesday of January. And people will come and we'll just be working through it. There's a workbook. There's amazing videos. You've seen the videos, and they're just so good. And they'll be able to work on those outside of our time. And we'll walk through. You'll write your obituary. You will create a 10-year vision. You'll create a 5-year vision. You'll create a 1-year vision. Then you'll be able to come up with goals, prioritize goals of what you need to do in the next few months to get there. And you'll also get a tool for a daily planner. And so we just sort of move through those aspects and in a basis, and we share in a group setting. So it's going to be a small group. I'm going to cap it at 8 people. So it'll be an intimate group. You'll get to share with some people, and you won't feel like you're a stranger, but you'll actually meet some friends through this whole process. And the best way to get a hold of me, I think right now, would be to send me an email. And so, hey, if you're driving, do not write this down. But if you're not driving, here's what it is. My name is Glenn Stevens Jr. So GSJ and then 8889. GSJ 8889 at gmail.com. And so that's, I think, the easiest way to say, hey, I'm interested in this. Maybe you have some more questions, or like, I want to write a story that really matters, and I want to do that. And it's a new year. It's time for a new direction in my life, and I'm going to go forward with it. It's the cost. I'll tell you what the cost is to it. It's $797 for the whole 7-week program. Get access to these videos. So that's over that time period. It's only like $100 a week, and very, very worth your while, because it's your life that you're investing in.
I got to say, I've been through it and been working on it. That's the nice thing too, is it's not written in cement, right? It's something that is always kind of malleable, and you can be tweaking it. But I went out and bought this sort of nice binder for it, and it's sort of, hey, here's my life plan. And sometimes you're like, man, I'm carrying my life plan around like that. Yeah, my life's important. I need to carry my plan around, what I'm up to. And it's been incredible to watch as I get more clear and focused, how the Lord just starts opening doors or bringing things into my world that start to make these things come to fruition. So it's very, very powerful. So give your email one more time, please.
Yes. GSJ8889 at gmail.com.
GSJ8889 at gmail.com. Glenn Stevens, be your own hero on a mission as we head into 2022. And Lord knows we could use a few more heroes on a mission.
We could.
As of late, to get out there and preserve our great freedoms in this great nation. Glenn, God bless you. Merry Christmas. Great to see you.
God bless you too. Thank you for letting me be here.
Stick around. We come back. We'll touch on some more things. And, I think there's a pretty big game going on here in town tonight. So we'll talk about that. And, of course, get to your phone calls. Number 701-271-1100. Grab your phone right now. Dial 701-271-1100. Would love to know your point of view on the fact that somebody walked into Sanford and got the pat down because they thought they might have some ivermectin on them. So stick around. Much more coming up right here on the Chris Berg Show.
Hi, everyone. This is Jake Dahl with OnSharp. OnSharp helps businesses grow with powerful websites, apps, and custom software development. Very happy to be joined here today by Chris Lean from Brining Industries. So thank you again, Chris, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So, Chris, we created a website for Brining. When you guys were looking into having a website redesign, what were some of the main issues that you guys were experiencing that led you to do that project?
Well, our website that we had existing was very outdated. It had been static for years. It really didn't have a lot of good content. It had a lot of content, but the flow of that content was unorganized. Navigability was very poor. It was difficult to find anything you were looking for, and we wanted to start an online shopping presence. We had never had one in the past, so it was something new for us, and we really needed to get that going.
Yeah, I remember having those discussions with you guys, and I knew that was kind of one of the main reasons for sure with it. What was, just kind of overall in working with us, what was your experience like with OnSharp?
I thought it was fantastic. We were looking for a company that was able to do what we needed done, and also someone that fit with us, with our personality. And we wanted someone that could deliver a website that we were really looking for, especially the update and that shopping.
Hmm. Did you feel like those results were accomplished with kind of the project that we did for you?
We did. Everybody was thrilled with the results. Our website now, we look like somebody from the 2000s rather than somebody from the 80s. So it really did help out. Our online shopping has been a benefit. We don't promote at all, and yet we're still seeing sales on a regular basis from it. So
that's great. That's really good to hear. And that's one of the things we always try to strive for as well, is making sure that we, exceed clients' expectations from that perspective. I guess, ultimately in your experience in working with us at OnSharp here, Chris, I mean, would you recommend OnSharp to other companies that are in need of a website redesign?
Oh, definitely. I think, the quality you're going to get from it, especially at a reasonable price for the work that's done, I think you'd be more than happy with it.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate you saying that. Chris, I can't thank you enough for being here today. Our team at OnSharp helped Brannick get their website done right. And to learn how we can help grow your business, please visit us at onsharp.com/getItright.
Is your company's website actively helping to grow your business, retaining customers, and bringing in new ones? If your answer is no, or even worse, I don't know, OnSharp is here to help. OnSharp is a world-class web development agency based right here in Fargo, and we can show you how your company's website can become your most powerful asset. We've developed a free resource guide called Getting It Right the First Time to help you plan a successful website redesign project. Download your free guide today at onsharp.com/getitright.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Mariah, welcome back to the Chris Berg Show here on a Feel Good Friday. Great to have you with us on a Friday afternoon. We're coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping you and America fuel better as you're driving home, or maybe driving to the Bison game. Go ahead after the Bison game, stop into your local PetroServe USA, grab some gas and some goodies for the game. Boy, how is that for alliteration, right? Grab some gas and some goodies for the game. Oh, by the way, PetroServe USA, also the C-Store sponsor for Bison Athletics. So you support PetroServe USA, you support the Bison at the exact same time. We're going to get to your calls here in just a moment. Number to call into the show, 701-271-1100, 701-271-1100. I'm getting a lot of requests here about the ivermectin situation. So if you are not driving, I'm going to give you some information that you can write down. If you want to share this, we podcast the show every single day, so you can always go back and listen to this if you're driving and get this information, or even just email me and I'll get it to you. But it's chris.berg@flagfamily.com. Again, chris.berg@flagfamily.com. So there's two steps here to getting ivermectin. There's a doctor out of California that will prescribe it. Then you need to have a place in Fargo that will actually fulfill the prescription. So I'm going to give you both of that information here. There's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Moore. He's out of California. You can call him 24/7, and he will visit with you about his COVID protocol. I'm told will prescribe ivermectin as well. The phone number, 562-498-4425. Again, his name is Dr. Moore. The number is 562-498-4425. You can call 24/7, and there's a nurse or somebody, at least an answering machine. They will get back to you. And then what he needs from you then is a place that can fulfill the prescription. And that is a place called InHealth here in Fargo. It's called InHealth, I believe. The phone number there, 701-365-6050. Again, 701 365-6050. That is InHealth, and I'm told that they will fulfill ivermectin prescription. So hopefully that is valuable to you, gives you some information that you can utilize to use ivermectin as a prophylactic or to help obviously mitigate some of those possible COVID symptoms that you're experiencing. Again, I'm not a doctor, not trying to play a doctor, just giving you some options here. So if you want to have an opportunity to try a different protocol, as Dr. Peter McCullough suggested, you've got the opportunity to do that. All right, let's go to Ray on line 2. Ray, thanks so much for waiting. Thanks for calling into the show. Merry Christmas. What's your point of view?
Oh, hey, Chris. Merry Christmas to you, too. The reason I'm calling is about the testing. I've never actually been tested, so I really don't know what it is that you have to do. So my question is, if these people test positive, okay, I'm going to refer back to the Aaron Rodgers incident. He got tested. They said his test came back positive. Well, I was then watching him on TV. It seemed like he was perfectly fine. Oh, no, he's asymptomatic. And asymptomatic means, well, you're positive, but you don't have any symptoms per se. You know what I mean? Well, if you get tested, do they do a split, like a split sample? Or do they retest if you get tested positive? Because there's things like false positives and such.
Yeah.
And I just wanted you to tell me what's going on with that.
Great question. I don't know all the specifics, Ray. It is a very, very good question, though, because one of the things that has been happening, especially if you use what is pretty common out there, it's called the PCR test. And what they do is they can set actually, I don't remember the exact term, but it was like the way that the test, quote unquote, rotates or something like that. They were setting that number very, very high. And what happens is that the higher the number, the more likelihood you're going to get a positive result. Thus, you've got a large increase in false positives. Then as they lower the number, which I was told they did in many places when Joe Biden was elected, then you don't get as many false positives. It becomes a much more accurate test. And so if you end up getting a positive on a COVID test, many times people will ask for a second test, i.e. second opinion, because they're concerned about so many false positives that were happening because these PCR tests were because the way the rotations or whatnot were set, it was too high and it was picking up way too much. Because look, a coronavirus can live in a myriad of places, right? I mean, it can be all over the place. And so it can be picked up pretty easily. All right. I want to just touch on this really quick because we all know how much we love our Blind Joe here locally. Blind Joe, you may remember, has got a fantastic song, one that we often like here called I Will Not Comply. But he's got another one as well that I just want to play a little bit of it for you because of what's happening at 8:15 tonight in
Get Your Horns Up!
In the Fargo Dome. You got number 2, NDSU, taking on number 3, JMU, James Madison, in the semifinal matchup, and it should be a doozy.
We've been waiting while tailgating in the parking lot. Now that clock is ticking down. The boys are ready to go. The energy in here's electric. Let's get on with the show. Get your horns up. Green and gold are back in town. Get your horns up. Pumped up and ready to throw down. Toss that coin up in the air. Bring the boys up to the line. Hold your horns up high because it's Bison time.
Yes, Bison time coming up at 8:15 tonight is the kickoff. So be sure and tune in or head out to the game. Enjoy. This is the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free.